Loveland Magazine TV videos are brought to you by the generous support of MoveToLoveland.com.
The city solicitor would like to speak first.
Before you begin your hearing tonight, I just wanted to make a point for the committee to consider regarding the project proposed by Infuse Holdings that will be constructed between Railroad Avenue and First Street. When a developer proposes a project and files an application seeking approval of the HPPC or of any committee in the city, the city has no discretion as to how they consider that. There's a formal process that's in place, and we are required to hold a hearing. This promotes transparency in the process, and these processes are required to be followed, even if there's components of a proposed project that either aren't complete or even if they're not possible. It should be noted, and the city would like you to take note, that the plan as submitted for the proposed project reflects that it would include driveways in the front of the townhomes that would open onto Railroad Avenue. The only way the proposed plan could be accomplished, as shown in that drawing that was submitted, would be for the city of Loveland to either take property that's now being used for parking and sell it to the developer, or for the city to grant the developer an easement such that those driveways could use Railroad Avenue as a means of ingress and egress. All of the other structures along Railroad Avenue have rear driveways that empty onto Front Street. The committee should be aware, and that's why I'm speaking, that Section 3.01 of the city's charter requires that any transfer of any interest in land owned by the city must be approved by the passage of an ordinance by city council. I did want to ask the city manager if city council has passed any ordinance authorizing the sale or granting an easement to Infuse Holdings that would even allow for the driveways to empty onto Railroad Avenue as the drawing shows.
We have not presented anything to city council yet. We try to relay that. Obviously, I don't presuppose the council would do by any stretch of imagination, but obviously parking is a priority along Railroad Avenue, and obviously the primary access point would be off of First Street. That would be the preferred access point. So we don't suppose what council would do, but nothing. Again, at this point, nothing has been brought to council.
So I just think it's an important point for the committee to note that as you're considering this project that's submitted tonight, even as drawn, there has not been any permission from the city to even allow those driveways to empty onto Railroad Avenue. So I think that's an important point for the committee to keep. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, I think maybe we could just hear from Mr. Hill. If you could present the proposal.
Happy to, yeah. Sure. Can you get that going for me? Cool. Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Hill. Tonight, I'm representing Infuse Holdings, which consists of myself, my dad, John Hill, and my brother-in-law, Adam Arnett. And tonight, we're looking for a certificate of appropriateness for our Railroad Avenue townhomes. First of all, just a little bit about us. It's kind of strange for my dad and I to talk about ourselves in this way, but we were told it's important, so we're going to go ahead and do it. The Hill family arrived in Loveland in 1948, so we've been in Loveland for 76 years. They moved from Philadelphia. They specifically moved to Loveland to be a part of the Railville community, which I think is pretty interesting. Glad they made that move. My dad is the youngest of 11 children and is an entrepreneur at its highest. He's an absolute entrepreneur. He started John Hill Construction in 1997 from nothing, and created it, he turned it into a very successful company. He's now turning it over to me, over the years to come. He went to Moeller High School in 1981 and served as a trustee on the Chamber of Commerce. Myself, I'm a 2010 graduate from Loveland High School, and I'm also a former board member of the Loveland Legacy Foundation. Also, once again, it's hard for us to brag on ourselves, but where we were told it was important. So we're currently building a house for the Gary Sinise Foundation in Mainville. Gary Sinise was the actor that played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, and his role in that movie was so powerful that he decided to create the Gary Sinise Foundation, where homes are built for disabled veterans that were wounded in combat at no cost to those homeowners. So we're currently building a home for the Gary Sinise Foundation and the Omer family, which is pretty interesting. Also, the Loveland World War II Memorial, there's a little before and after there. We renovated that for Loveland at cost. Looks great. We've also done work on the Loveland Historical Society. We renovated the entire exterior of that building. And we're also donors to foundations like the Cancer Free Kids, the Loveland Legacy Foundation, the Loveland Schools Foundation, Loveland Life Food Pantry, Team Courage, Genesis at Work Foundation, just to name a few. So we're a part of this community, and we really do care. To the Historical Planning and Preservation Committee, thank you for your time and your service. I think that our time is the most valuable thing that we have. So thank you. I just want to let you all know we're excited to work together now and in the future. We have 4 other properties within the historical district that we don't have plans for yet, but might eventually be proposing something to you in the future. So we look forward to working together and to continually historically plan Loveland. So we have this book in our office. It's called Loveland Passages Through Time. It was written in 1992. It's a really cool book, and if you like Loveland, you should check it out. It goes through the entire history of Loveland. And in preparation for this presentation, I picked through this book, and I took a lot of the historical old buildings that were in the book, and I'm pointing out aspects of these old buildings that are resembled in the structure that we're trying to get approved here. So the first one, we'll go to Old Town Hall. If you take a look at it, it's 3 stories tall, completed in 1889. Okay, it's a stone and brick exterior. It was destroyed by fire in 1972, unfortunately. Here we've got a picture of West Loveland Avenue in 1913 after a flood, unfortunately. 112 years ago, you see the brick and stone exterior with the decorative crown molding. You see that small upper gable, I think that's interesting too. We've got something similar on our building. Also, there's decorative crown molding. The next one here is it was originally called the Goldier Building, I believe, per the book that I read. Built in 1853, most of you guys will recognize it. It's no longer around. You can see it's 3 stories tall. You see the decorative crown molding, you see the brick exterior, very traditional look. Yeah, once again, 3 stories tall. And we basically lost this to structural failure. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm pretty sure it was not recoverable at some point. And here we got the old Loveland Post Office as well, and it was the Loveland National Bank as well. You see the stone veneer at the bottom, the brick exterior, as well as the decorative crown molding up top. Now we move on to some existing examples that are in Loveland as well. This is the old Loveland Elementary School or High School. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was a school at some point, I'm pretty sure. But once again, the brick and stone exterior. Here we've got the Loveland Bank and Post Office as it is today, brick and stone exterior as well. And here we got West Loveland Avenue as it is today, and this is a part of Loveland that I don't think any other small town in America might have. After the fire, we were able to rebuild this 100-plus-year-old facade and have a state-of-the-art facilities inside it with rooftops. So I mean, this is a part of Loveland history that's going to be around for a very long time, and I think this is something that should be replicated. I think it's very important, even though it's only recent history, this is an important part of history. Here's another angle of that West Loveland Avenue as well. I really like the look of Bishop's Quarter. I almost want our building to match that a little bit closer, but you know, we can get to that. I love the porches that they added on the left-hand side there. Brick and stone exterior. And here's our building, just 100 yards from here. And with all the examples that I just showed you all, it's I think it looks great. I think it matches the history of Loveland. This is a rendering from the bike trail. It's really hard for me to understand how there's any opposition to it, honestly, but I think it looks great. 3 stories, brick and stone exterior. It's got the rooftops. It's got that small gable that I pointed out that was on the West Loveland Avenue back in 1930, about 1913 there. So I think it looks great. And the proximity-wise, this is our structure will be within about a block of most of those other buildings, not all of them, but most of them. And this does not include the project on 115 Railroad Avenue that was approved. And also, there's a really cool map in that history book that I read through that it looked like it showed 3 properties facing Railroad, 3 facing First Street, with a layout really similar to what our layout will be. Here it is. You can see the top red line. I know this is going to be hard to read. The top red line is First Street. The bottom red line is Railroad, and there it was. 66, 67, 68, and then on top there 76, 77, 78. This map didn't have a date on it, which is a bummer, but another cool piece of Loveland that we're matching with our project. And just a little bit about our sentiment. We want to build something that we're proud of. We want to build something that's going to be in the future history books of Loveland. And we want this unique part of Loveland to be owned and maintenance by people that live and work in Loveland. Our office is 300 yards from where I stand right now. I'm 33 years old. I'm going to be taking over John Hill Construction. I'm not going anywhere. I think that's important. And honestly, it's kind of sappy, but I'm excited about the thought that when I'm dead and gone, that my children will inherit a part of this property. That's how much I care about this. And so specifically, here's our goal. We want to build 2 structures. 1 structure facing Railroad, 1 structure facing First Street. Each structure has three townhomes on it. The first level will be parking and storage. The second level will be the kitchen, the dining, office area. The second level will be the bedrooms, bathrooms, and then all the units we plan on having a rooftop observation deck. And so here's a front elevation, a 2D elevation of the front of the building. Here are the this is the garage level here. You can see 2 indoor parking spots per unit. Also 2 parking spots directly outside of these garage doors on the property. Here's the first floor, shows the kitchen, half bath, office area, living room. Here's the second floor, 2 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, walk-in closets, laundry, And here's the rooftops. Here we've got the site plan. You can see the 3 units facing Railroad, 3 facing First Street. I can zoom in here. You can see that it's 41 feet 4 inches tall. It's at the top of the gable. Okay. You can see that we don't have the buildings pushed all the way to the property lines on Railroad Avenue and First Street. We held them back a bit to have some porches. It's only 90 feet wide. You know, we had an interesting thought that we would be willing to incorporate as well. I see all these murals around town, and I think that they're cool. I appreciate art, and I was thinking that maybe, you know, one of our buildings would have a mural of a train going down a train track or something like that, and then the other building would have a bike going down a bike path. You know, kind of cool. I think it would be, you know, being right next to the bike path. I think it's kind of interesting. So, just want to throw that out there as well. Yeah, so on the right-hand side of the buildings, if you're standing on First Street, we're talking about maybe adding some murals there. And here's something, you know, that we need to consider. You know, I took this picture and thought of using the building on the left-hand side here as an existing inspiration photo. And I took the picture and, you know, no one's looking at that building on the left. Everyone's looking at this big thing on the right-hand side here. Yeah, it looks like it's halfway done. It looks like the developer ran out of money, and we have to prevent this. You take a look at the building on the right; it looks complete. The brick all the way to the top. There's decorative crown molding. You know, we have to prevent the aesthetics of Loveland Station. And I think it's important for the public to know that the developers of Loveland Station that actually built it were not the first or the second developers. They were the third developers. It was the third option for Loveland. The other two developers were apparently ran out of town. We're the first developers on Railroad Avenue, and I think that the first design is a lot of times the best design. So in preparation for this meeting as well, we contacted the public, we contacted stakeholders that live or work within the historical district. All these names you see up here are people that approved their name to be on here. Starting with Martin Schickel, he's our next door neighbor on Railroad Avenue. He owns the bike rental property. He started Christmas in Loveland, and he also started Loveland Amazing Race. He's in favor of this. Mark Altemeyer, the owner of 115 Railroad Avenue, is in favor of this. He's also the Monkey Bar owner. Shane Harden, he's the lead pastor of Branches Church, also a Loveland resident. He is in favor of this. Chris Grader, Loveland resident, he is in favor of this. All of these people within the historic district, not just Loveland. Dale Eads, owner of Eads Fence, he's in favor. The Chamber of Commerce is in favor. C.C. Collins settlement of consent. Also, various elected officials are in favor of this. We feel like everyone that we spoke to was in favor of this. We feel like there's a silent majority of people that are scared to share their names. You know, literally every single person that we spoke to was in favor. You know, we also need to point out, you know, the recent approval just only 130 feet away with the decorative crown molding, flat roof, and brick exterior at 115 Railroad. This is 130 feet away. And I, you know, social media has just become a part of our lives. I hate to address it. It doesn't feel professional, but it really is a concern. And talking to the important people in Loveland, they also bring up social media, so I want to address some of the social media concerns that I've seen online. Those being the height. I heard about parking. I heard these townhomes being mentioned as apartments, and also people thinking that this is a money grab, which is far from the case. First of all, the height. You know, we're within all zoning restrictions. We're 41 feet 4 inches tall. The works is 66 foot 8 inches tall, right next to us. There's also 8 feet of grade change between our building and where the works is. You know, so we think that the works is going to stand 20 feet taller than us. Loveland Station is 55 feet tall. Bishop's Quarter is 47 feet tall. There's at least 4 of the buildings as tall as ours, as tall or taller than ours. Here's a quick little graph of, you know, just, there's 10 over us. We're about the same height there. So we got the works, 60-something, Loveland Station, Bishop's Quarter, you know, we're far from the tallest building in Loveland. Parking-wise, you know, we're gonna have 4 parking spots on the property per unit. That's 24 parking spots. Also, there's just 275 parking spots that surround this building. There's 275. You know, we need 3 from Railroad. You know, and if we have to, we'd be willing to give up some of our property and add maybe 4 parking spots along Harrison. And that way there's a net gain in public parking. Here's where those spots would be. Highlighted in red, assuming they're 20 feet long, parallel parking spots. You know, we could actually add 5 if we had to. I know our property is 100 feet long. Yeah. After creating the presentation last night, I walked out and looked at our sign in our parking lot, and I figured I'd remind everyone that friends of John Hill Construction are welcome to park at our parking lot after business hours, 2 hour time, please. And so also, you know, these are townhomes. These aren't apartments. You know, these are 2.5 bath, 2-bedroom apartment townhomes. You know, and if this was a money grab, every single level of these units would be its own apartment. It had a tiny little kitchenette. It had a little bedroom and a little living area. And that's not what we're trying to do. You know, it would be built to code minimum. You know, these are far from little apartments. These are townhomes. You know, and the thought of that this is a money grab really, it cuts me deep because, you know, we're going to be taking out a 30-year loan on this. We may not see a return on this until 2057. I'll be 64 years old. This is not a money grab. You know, we want this to be as historic as possible. We feel that our plans are historically appropriate. We welcome feedback on how to make them more historically appropriate. We're happy to improve. If you feel these are inappropriate, we ask, please, that you give us quantifiable reasons why it is not appropriate. These buildings are not too big. There's plenty of parking. They're going to look great. Please vote yes. Matt?
Good evening, my name is Matt Curran. I'm an attorney with Loveland Kelly. And just a few points for the commission to consider that John and his team maybe a little too modest or didn't really want to make themselves, but he is not some out-of-town, outside developer. Not from Indianapolis, not from Chicago. He's a local guy and he's a local company, and they care about this community. As stated, they own other property in the historic district. He's probably one of the last people who would want to see something in this area that isn't appropriate, that doesn't fit, and would harm property values. Something is going to get built there, and who is better to build it for this community than John Hill? Second point is that there are criteria to follow. Respectfully, I know Mr. Braun a long time. The parking issue is not really what concerns us here tonight. This is for a certificate of appropriateness. That's not an arbitrary or subjective view or opinion. It's not a subjective test. There's a stated purpose in the regulations, A through I. We hit all of the ones that are applicable. B, to stabilize and improve property values. C, to support and stimulate business and industry. G, to strengthen the economy of the city. I believe that the property that was there before generated $1,400 a year in property taxes. This property will do $18,000. So 32,000 per year in property taxes. Property value, I think it's undeniable. Economic diversity and economic improvement. You'll have multiple residents there paying more rent than what was there before. The guidelines also say, and these are on the website, historic preservation guidelines, which I'm sure the commission knows well. Protecting property values is one of the primary components there on page 33. Any new construction doesn't need to imitate or replicate historic styles. It just has to focus on timeless design principles. This is not some avant-garde construction that's being proposed. This isn't steel and glass This isn't some architectural novelty, it's some oval, weird colors. It's as traditional as it comes. Square, brick, stone. And then thinking about what other options others might want to be considered here. I mean, this is an aerial view of the area. We all know where the property is. I mean, it abuts a huge parking lot. There's the monkey bar going catty corner. There's a brewery, there's town hall. No one is gonna want a single family cottage that abuts a 275 space parking lot. It's just not feasible, it's not practical. I think the presentation speaks for itself, and I think what's being proposed is very appropriate for the area.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about the fifth vote that Dan Peterson was, or Patterson was excused?
It's just a majority.
So it's break even?
Yeah, so if somebody isn't here, you know, well, I don't know if there's a tie.
Yeah, that's what I guess what I'm curious about.
But we'll
We'll
cross
figure it out.
that bridge when we come to it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure. And I went out of order because I wanted you to present your, sometimes it's better if people see what you're doing before they get up and talk. So now it's totally fine. Now I'm gonna do the open forum part of it, and I've got 2 emails that were submitted, shall I just put names in, or?
We just give them out, and we also give them to the applicant.
Okay,
If someone can't attend, and they forward the staff an email, we lay them out.
Okay.
Do the same thing for planning and zoning commission, board zoning appeals. Copies are handed to the applicant.
Loveland Magazine TV videos are brought to you by the generous support of MoveToLoveland.com.